It is Christmas Eve, my friend. The first part of Christmas Eve. The early part of Christmas Eve. And I want you to remember that this is a MAGA Christmas Eve. While the world braces for a most deserved revolution. Remember this. You're going to meet people who are they still cannot believe that we won. They still cannot believe that we won. It's the most incredible thing I have ever seen in my life. They cannot believe. I'm going to say this again. They're going to do everything in their power. Everything. To remind you that I have a friend of mine who goes, that son of a bitch Trump. I said, excuse me, that's President son of a bitch Trump. You are going to be hit with people who are not they will come at you in every way possible. And what you do is you just say, whatever. And you treat them like they are crazy. So first, celebrate the day. Remember, we won. Oh, there's some bad stuff that happened. There's some bad stuff, of course. I'm not going to tell you there's not. Of course, there's some bad stuff that happens. Yes. But we're not going to always dwell on that. We'll talk about it. There's some people who never, ever want there to be any. I mean, I want to talk about things, but I don't want to prohibit you from enjoying a sense of excitement. Let us not completely lose what's going on. Let me show you something. First, in a lighter mode, if you drive east on 57th Street and you come up to 5th Avenue and you get to that corner, on the left, as you're headed east, you see this. This is the Louis Vuitton flagship store. I had to turn the music off because you know how they are about that. We'll just start off. This, I don't know if you can see this. This outside, they are renovating it. This is all under construction. They're doing everything. But the outside facade is a construction of it like a trunk, like a Louis Vuitton trunk. And you walk up to it, and you cannot believe people from all over the world are looking at this big the metal brads, the metal buttons, the metal clasps, the leather straps. I'm not impressed. And you can see at the top right, I should have gotten this a little more. At the top right, you see that star changing color? That's the famous 57th Street star. 5th Avenue and 57th Street. Isn't this incredible? This is just watching this. And walking up yesterday. Now, as you go east, as you're straight, to the right is Tiffany and Trump Tower, where people from all over the world are going. And today, as we speak, it's a blizzard. Snowing like a mother. I mean, it is wild, okay? John Griffith says, I try not to be very dismissive of the Democrats who lost. But in fact, they lost. They did lose. But here's the thing. I want you to imagine you have a yapping dog or a petulant child who's crying. I don't know what to tell you. Oh, look at this. Fred said, and no one sprayed graffiti on it? No. Oh, God, you'd be dragged out to your... Oh, my God. The security there? No. And across the street from that, as you were here, as you are driving here, let me see if I can do this here. To the left, immediately is Bergdorf Goodman, supposedly, or as some people say, supposedly, where President Trump and E. Jean Carroll met up. So I want you to understand something. Please remember that we won. You do not have to be a gracious winner. You don't have to be whatever. You are going to remember, and there are people, unfortunately, many of them in our neck of the woods, our side, our people, who will not necessarily enjoy the motion, the love of this that we have. They will not enjoy any kind of, I don't know what the word is, excitement, because they're always finding something else. Now, I mentioned something last night to you, and I'm going to try to say this again, and I'm going to do it again. I am so glad Matt Gaetz is gone, so we can focus on what matters. Matt Gaetz is not our boyfriend. This is not a fan club. Okay? It's not, we like him. I don't know what it is. I saw the same thing with George Santos. What are you, nuts? I don't want anybody who will distract from us. I don't know. I've asked people what, and I think everybody's going to get confirmed. Pete Hegseth, fine. I've got no thoughts one way or the other. Would I pick Pete Hegseth? No. But that's okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean he's a bad guy. It doesn't mean, would I pick, oh my God, Marco Rubio? Hell no. Never. But nobody asked me. See, that's the thing I want to tell you. Nobody asked me. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to lose my MAGA spirit. Remember, I'll be back. MAGA 24. I've got all of my great hats. Look at this I found. People are slipping this under doors. Does this look great? This looks like, this is so, my God. This looks like such a real, except it's too shiny. And then on the back, ta-da! And you're seeing these slipped under doors. And this is so good. Don't pass this. Don't pass this. But isn't that something? And am I ground? Yes. Am I understand? Yes. So understand, we've won. Act like winners. Some people are sore winners. Some people are never happy. Never. Now, by the way, I told you, indeed, I think Drummer said, I told you about, I can't tell you what I heard about Matt Gaetz in the background. I can't tell you the stuff I've heard about. You will never know, and I will never say it, things about Kimberly, Matt Gaetz, Diddy, LeBron James, and other people you've never heard about. Wait, I don't have enough to go out. It doesn't warrant. Hey, I heard a lot of things, but I knew what I was talking about. See, this guy's trouble. I don't want the president sidetracked. I want him to win so that we can win. I think it makes a lot of sense. You understand this? That's all. And last night we talked about something. Remember something. And this is, dear friends, what I always want to give you is I want you to know, how do you handle stuff? How do you think about this? When do you go? If you've got kids and you say, do you get upset about this or do you get upset about that? Kids got to get away. Every now and then they got to get away with something. Every now and then. That's not a biggie. Use it sparingly. And the great F. Scott Fitzgerald, who was a roaring alcoholic, said, a great mind is able to handle two or more seemingly inconsistent, discordant, dissonant, varying, different ideas at the same time. You got to be able to handle two things at the same time and not lose your mind. You have to be able to understand, yes, I recognize in the value of the human spirit. Yes, I understand the value of sanctity of human life. Yes, I understand that only God can take human life, but I want those people whose death sentences were found not to be commuted. I want them dead, but I believe in human life. And I'm going to go to prayer, and I'm going to go, and Jesus, and I believe them to be dead. Now, if you think that makes sense, no. But it's okay. Handle the two. Yes, I believe this is a human life. Yes, I believe that life lives a conception, but I do not want to abolish abortion because of it. Does that make sense? Life's like that. Life is absolutely like that. Plus, you've got to be able to handle multiple things at the same time. There are people, we talked about this last night, some great, great people, friends of ours in the family, great, great, great minds like our friend Sparky and others, who are absolutely just, who are so rocked, and for good reason, by what's happening in the Middle East with Syria and Israel and Iran and Palestine and Hamas and Gaza and the Houthis and Lebanon and Hezbollah. I mean, it's just it's the most, they go right to it. And if you watch the great Judge Napolitano, the great Mearsheimer, the great Scott Ritter, the great Jeffrey Sachs, the great Alistair Crook, the great Max Blumenthal and Aaron Monte, and even Katie Halper and others, they speak I would say maybe 90% of the time on Israel, maybe 10 on Ukraine, maybe a little bit. I shouldn't say 10, but it is the beginning. It is the end. It is the most important thing. And they are absolutely correct. However, 90%, but not more than the people in this country, have no interest whatsoever in this. None. They don't know what you're talking about. And it's very, very simple. Have you ever gone to a medical arts building or something and you say, okay, what do we have here? Oh, dermatology, cardiology, OBGYN. If you went into OBGYN, there's all these pregnant women. It's like, is that all you people talk about? Yes. Why? Because we're all pregnant. Okay, it makes sense. Why are you talking about this? I don't know. We just are. Okay, well, whatever. You have to pick your thing. We have passions. I have passions no one speaks of. AI, AGI, I'm alone. Arr, nobody. Crickets. There's nobody there. It's okay. I understand. I'm not going to demand that you do it. Plus, I've got to play to the tune. You ever talk to people who go to Italy or real Italian? Because we don't have a polpetto. We don't have meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs. I don't care when you have them. We have them here. In Palermo, we eat a pizza with a fork. I don't care. We think it looks, as people say here. Have you heard people say that is so gay? Remember they stopped saying that, but they're saying it again now. Saying, well, I don't want to suggest that gay is bad, but I know what people mean. Remember that when kids and people meant nothing by it, nothing. The word retarded is back. You notice that? Have you noticed that? Retarded is back. It's back. And I'm glad in one respect. Nobody ever cared about my intention. They only cared. I want my words back. And I'm tired of, you want to use the N-word? You want to use it? I got to say queer, and you use the N-word, but you know what? I got my own word. Here's my old rules. Ready for this? 2024, retarded's back. There you're going to go. There you go. You keep the N-word. You keep the queer. You keep all that stuff. Guess what? There's a new sheriff in town. This is my word. And I'm not making fun of people. I say, what are you, blind? Hey, what are you, blind? I'm not making fun of Helen Keller. There's a new sheriff in town, my friend. A new sheriff, a new word. You understand that? It's very, very interesting. Very, very popular. Very popular. How about friends? Let's take a bit of an interruption of sorts. I want you to listen very, very carefully because I think I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. It's very, very critical right now as we speak. There are more people than you know, more people than you will ever know, who are absolutely drowning in debt. I mean, this is something that you want to talk about. Nobody knows about this. Friends don't tell you, hey, Jerry, can I talk to you? Yeah. Listen, I don't know what to do. Men especially, oh, I'm doing great. How much you make? Great. Nobody talks about financial problems. Nobody gets into debt because they're bank robbers. Nobody gets into debt because they're bad people. You might have something. You may have a bad month. You may need. Who knows? Who knows? And especially if you're young, because we don't ever talk about stuff. This might be the most important news you have. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even helped negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. There's an article I read. In fact, I commend to you. Please put your friends on the Lionel newsletter. This is one I did on Musk derangement syndrome, and it is so interesting. See, you got to understand something. This is just the way I am. So this might explain stuff. I think I told you before, I am not a Republican. And I know that may surprise you, but I'm not a Republican. I'm an American, and I want the best that is possible. And sometimes there is a solution for something that is so incredible. It sounds crazy at first, and then you say, wait a minute, there's something to this. Let me give you an example. Fecal transplants. Now, hang on, hold on. Whoa. Hang on now. Wait a minute. Hold it. Did you say fecal transplant? Yep. Fecal feces? Yep. One of the most fascinating things I ever heard was in cases of C. diff and problems with bad biota and gut, I mean, just people who are just absolutely, we never want to talk about this, but people with IBS and colitis and irritable bowel and all kinds of lower GI distress, you simply cannot understand what that is. I don't have this, and I'm glad, but I've never had a brain tumor either, knock wood, but I understand it. It is horrible. And it's something that is so, not only is it painful, but it destroys your life. Imagine you're a young girl, you're 15, 16, you're out there, and people say, oh, she's so beautiful and gorgeous and young, but they don't know. Many of these people have to have surgeries that are so horrible. Not, I shouldn't say horrible, but ileostomies and colostomies and all types of, and they're afraid to go out because what if they have an attack? Oh my God, it's just, well, in that particular realm, somebody found years ago, they said, I have an idea. Let us take people whose fecal matter is very, very consistent, very, very, how do I say this? Very consistent, very regular, so to speak, in terms of the cellular biota. Okay, but let's say people with very, very good balanced E. coli. E. coli and others, but this thing called the not gut flora, but this thing, right? This environment. Okay, so let's take their feces, take it, do whatever preservative, maybe check it, whatever, and then through injection, actual injection, like a colonoscopy, way up, past the sigmoid colon, up, ascending, transverse, drop it in, just drop it in, transplant it, and let the magic begin. Think of like stem cells for your gut. And when people got through the first, because that's what we do, whenever we talk about sort of the, because since we were kids, and of course, we all have senses of humor, but this isn't funny. So anyway, it changed lives. People had their freedom back. People had their life back. People were just, they couldn't believe it. But it took somebody to think out of the box, beyond the realm of usual. And think about this. And that's the most important thing. Now look at this. This is so stupid. He is wrong. The immune system is destroyed by antibiotics, so a fecal implant is required to restore replacement bacteria into the sub. No, do me a favor. This is the lane. This is your lane. These are people driving, but this is your lane. And you're a nice person, I'm sure. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Don't ever raise your hand and say, you're wrong. Antibiotics destroy. No. I know this. Unless you like to do this. I love when people all of a sudden are instant experts. You understand this? And if you would like me to send you to this, remember, nobody is going to read anything about what I've said. Never. You never look up words. You're not going to look up the history. Michael Greger, I saw this. It was the most fantastic thing. It's being done all over the world. That's exactly what, not everybody is prone to it. But do you see what happens? I know everything. I know everything. I know everything. This is who we are. History. And there's always somebody. And see, and I understand this. I only buy organic grass-fed fecal matter. See, because people can't, they want to be funny. You want, Marcus, I love you. You want somebody to say, Marcus, you are so funny. You really, oh, thank you. Thank you. I will do it no matter what, because that's my level. I like driving through neighborhoods at 3 a.m. honking at people. So people say, hey, there he goes. Does it ever bother you? Does it? I don't know about you, but we are, and I'm not saying you, but there are so many people who are such assholes. They're these miserable, not you, mind you, not you, but they never listen. They're uninteresting. They're the guy, they don't know anything. They don't read the part. Remember the old days when you would get, like, I don't know if they even have them, like a 3-way bulb. We don't even have it. There's 50 or 60. Whoa, look at that one. Others have that little bug light. They live in the world. This is how bright their world gets. They don't get any brighter. And they're happy. It's a yellow bug light. That's all they live by. They don't know. Their world is like, nothing fascinates them. Nothing fascinates them. Do you remember when they took when they used maggots, see, I love it. You're gonna look. See, because immediately maggots. Remember when they used maggots, not only to debride, but to use post-operative to consume dead tissue? Maggots. Ew. Let's talk about maggots. Missing the whole point. You know, and people say squirrel, and they always joke about that. Missing the point of everything. Maggots. I love maggots. I love my maggots, my maggots, and my gun. I love maggots. Maggots. Do you understand what's going on? No. I don't know. And I'm going to say this, and I swear to you, I'm trying to think. Do I know anybody, personally, other than Mrs. L, but do I know anybody who really is, let me say this carefully, other than Mrs. L, do I know anybody who shares my fascination for the operational complexity of everything? No. I think I had a professor once, I liked him. I think there's some people online, but I've never met him. Nobody I know. It's the yellow bug light. It's the yellow bug light. It's the yellow bug light. The drive-by, the double-parked world. But that's all we've got. And I elected to be the kindergarten teacher. I elected this. Nobody forced me to do this, but I picked kindergarten. I didn't pick college. I didn't pick post-grad or post. I picked kindergarten. Kindergarten is very important. And kids say something, but they're kids. When you get kindergarten minds in adults, I don't know what it is, and it's something that is like, and I have to just say to myself, there's nothing you're gonna do. You're not gonna make people I can't do a fascination transplant. I can't do this. I can't make people say, wow, this thing, I wonder where we get a tree from. Yeah, we got a tree, Christmas tree. It's pagan. And it comes from a Yule Brenner. Don't you look this up? No. And it's Saturnine, and it's a planting season. Yeah, that's it. Don't you want to look this up? No. But I have this thing right here, Grandpa. It says, I don't want to look it up. I want to guess. I want to just guess. Okay. Grandpa, you said something about Marxism. That's not Marxism. Yes, it is. It's what I like. Grandpa, would you like to look up it? No. Grandpa, I've got great lectures on Marx. I don't want to look it up. I don't care about this. I don't care. You don't understand. I'm not moving. I want to just talk. I don't want to think. Now, here's something on a lighter note that is making the world crazy. And I'm going to turn this sound off because I believe there is music or something. Now, 3, this is making, I think you've seen this, 3 negresses, I love that word, walk in wearing, they're walking in to an Ulta Beauty. And if I'm in terms of loss prevent management, I'm going to say, keep an eye on them. Maybe I know them before, but I've done this before. They're going to come in to shoplift. Now, is that racist? It was before. Is this profiling? It sure as hell is. You bet you believe it. Better believe it. Yep. Profiling doesn't mean it's wrong either. Did you ever see drug courier profile? Absolutely accepted by the Supreme Court. All right. Now, as you know, in I'm sure you know this because you know everything. In New York and California, they passed Prop 46. There was this wonderful piece which is so terrific. Oh my God, it was the most wonderful thing. Prop, I think 46. Prop 36, excuse me. Prop 36, excuse me. Prop 36 is now in effect. And there was something called Prop 47. Okay? And I'm just gonna let you watch this. Prop 36 is this new California thing that went into effect. So let's watch this. Let's imagine you and I are up in the world of harnessing. We're looking at things, we're scanning, and these three walk in, and I'm saying, keep an eye on them. Here they come. Grabs a bag. Young. They split off. Now, immediately remember, in the old days, you would have to explain, do not do anything if they are black. I know people who've worked for major, I could give you the name. I know for a fact, one major cosmetic perfume, and they said, whatever they do, just don't do anything. They used to come in with bags. Remember this? Bags. Oh, it was wonderful. Big, hefty bag. Garbage bags. And would you like for me to go through the demographic? Would you like me to? Of the ones, no, I know people could say, well, wait a minute, hold it. It was the damnedest thing. You see, Democrats, progressives, will say white, racist, white nationalist, white this, white that. Every time something happened, my race, which I never even cared about, I never even thought it was white until you keep reminding me of it. White this, white privilege, white this, white. So if I say, here we go, teenage black, wait a minute, hold it, like, pardon me, this is called black arrogance. What? That's my new thing. Well, you have white privilege. It's called black arrogance. What's black arrogance? Black arrogance is this false sense of invisibility and a second-tier bit of justice because of your race, because we've been looking the other way for the longest time and letting you go and having no cash bail because you're black. And you naturally say, I have a privilege status. I am privileged. Why? Because I'm black. It's called black entitlement, black protection, black immunity. I've got white privilege. I don't know what it is. Okay, you got that? So this is exactly what this is. So anyway, here they go. Again, I'm turning I think this might be. Yeah, right. These boots are made for walking. Anyway, there they go. They're walking out. Just walking out. Not paying for anything. Just walking out with black entitlement syndrome. BES. Black entitlement syndrome. Mr. White Privilege, meet BES. And they're driving. Here come the cops. Cops say, we're going to get these. We're going to get them. And they say, this is California, Prop 46. And by the way, who advanced and promoted Prop 46? That's right, your girlfriend, Gay Mala. And here they are driving. By the way, I watch, you know this. I told you this repeatedly. I watch this. I love this. I gotta go home. Get my phone. Get my phone. That's my favorite. And by the way, it's not. This is true. I'm going to say something to you. And ladies, please do not say anything. And I mean this sincerely, okay? You understand this? Please believe me when I say this. Please listen to me. Please, I mean this. And I mean this. I love humanity. I really do. But the biggest problem in the world, please don't take this the wrong way, and agree if agree. But the problem that we have out of this entire sphere of criminality is women. They're crazy. Women criminals are crazy. 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 Not women. women criminals. I study this. I'm amazed, man. I'm amazed. You understand this? And you know and I know. Yes, I'm sure there were some Eskimos somewhere in Aleutians. But let's get back to reality. So here, and I see this, by the way, when they catch women, get my phone, I call my mother, bro, let me go, bro, let me go, bro. And that's the police officer. I'm just kidding. Bro, there was another woman too. Oh, and foreign, when I say foreign, sometimes almost like Eastern European white women, I guess, have this idea. I love this. You can't touch me. That's, I don't know if it sounds like Charo, but this sovereign citizen. I didn't know anything about sovereign citizen. I wasn't driving. I was traveling. What are you talking about? Get your hand off me. You can't touch me. Get your hand off me. I gotta go. And all these women say, I'll do anything. They all say that too. I'll do anything. Now, let me tell you something. Reality is a bitch. So anyway, here are the cops. We're driving. We're going to pick them up. Oh, there they go again. Now they're in Kohl's. And now they're going to Kohl's. Fa-la-la my ass. We'll see who's fa-la-la. Here they come again. The trio, ready to go. Spreading out. Picking things up, Just picking stuff up, putting their bags, and you guessed, looking around, and there we go. Look at the pen, and walking out. Just tearing it. Look at this. Yep. Oh, look at this. Almost $1,000. Look at this. Grab this. Put in your bag. Yeah, put it down. And we're just going to walk out because it's called Black Entitlement Syndrome. I'm sorry. Not entitlement. We have white exceptional, whatever it is. I forgot the name of my just made up theory. Okay, so they're walking out, and there they go, and we're keeping an eye on them. Oh, eye in the sky. Alan Parsons, right? And we're driving, and we're keeping up them, and we're gonna catch up. And there they go. There they go. There they're in the. And then here, now we're gonna catch them. Run, run, run! God, I love body cams. You have no idea, ladies and gentlemen. I love body cams. I could watch this stuff all day long. It's great. You realize how good the police are. And they never get away. Look at this. And let me tell you what she said. Get off of me. Get my phone. Call my mother. Let go of me. Bro. Let go. Bro. What I do, bro? Get up, bro. I can't breathe. That's another big one, too. Remember that George Floyd? I can't breathe. I heard that one. I can't breathe. Let go of me, bro. Let go of me, bro. Bro. Not bro. And we got you. Now here, this is where I wish, I don't want to get hit that copyright thing because now they're talking and they're saying it's a felony. Now this is great. Look at this on the left. It's a felony. Now watch this. It's a felony. Bitch, new laws. You can't. See her look in the face like, what? And they're talking to each other. They're talking. As opposed to, I don't know why they stopped us. We weren't taking anything. Bitch, new laws. Stealing is a felony. No, really? Wah, wah, wah. Oh, look at her like, damn. These people. And this Orange County bitch, they don't play. I'm sorry, I'm adding a little bit of inflection to this. They don't play. Look at this on the left. She's like, what? It gets better. Say something now. Now that's it. Don't steal in seal. Now, please watch this. You can go to my YouTube channel, my whatever it is, and watch it. This is the most beautiful thing in the world. But don't blame them. It's this black expectancy. I'm young. I'm black. I'm African American. I've lived in a world for the past 5 years of DEI. You're emptying the jails. Everything is black. Everything is black. Everything. Every commercial is black and white. No white. I am right, not you. I am right. I am. You can't touch me. Do you understand this? I know, please. The hormone joke is so old, and it is so great. Thank you for this. It is so old. Don't pay her, kick her in the foot, whatever it is. There's a variety of this, but thank you. Remember the joke? What are you doing? I'm laying linoleum. Remember that? Finish the punchline. This was classic, like 1960s, 70s. These are the rudimentary jokes you had to know. Stand up, tell us what your father does for a living. Spell it and tell us what he'd give us if he were here. That's another joke. I could do a whole series of those. Those were part of the 60s too. Women have no idea what I'm talking about. This is it. Now, I've got news for you. In every other, we talk about, and now the Chinese triads. What? The Chinese triads. What are they? The Chinese triads. Do you have to mention that they're Chinese? Well, God damn it, they're Chinese. They're Chinese. How am I supposed to bring up that they're Chinese? They're Chinese. Do you have to bring up? They're triads. They're Chinese triads. How do we not talk about them? Well, we have the Venezuelan crime, TDA, Tren de Aragua. Do you have to bring up the fact that they're Venezuelan? Well, they're Venezuelan. But does it matter? Well, yeah, it does. It really does. Remember those people in Springfield, Ohio? And the Haitians are eating the ducks and the cats do you have to bring up the fact that they're Haitians? They're Haitians. Well, how am I supposed to talk about? How do I talk about Haitians doing this if I don't bring it up? We talk about everybody else. Haitians, Chinese, the Russian mobs here in New York, the Albanians, the mob, the mafia, the Sicilians. We talk about it all the time. Trans. LGBTQ plus. I'm trans. I'm queer. I'm bifusial, but queer. Mention young, black, whatever. Doesn't exist. Black is a word that does not exist and cannot be used in any way, not to suggest for 1 minute that the entire demographic of African Americans are part of crime. It's not true. But if there was a valuable, absolute, specific provision of the, what am I trying to say, of the reality that involves a proportion of these people who are black, can't say it. And the reason why we must say it is because they are of the impression that they can get away with anything because they're special. They're special. Do you understand this? They are special. Well, that may be. But I'll tell you who's not special are the people in California who find themselves stealing stuff. Now, I don't know about you, and I think I speak for all of us, believe it or not, I swear to God, we don't care about people because of who they are. But when we have factions and groups of people who represent a sizable, representable, identifiable, articulable group of people who are involved in certain behaviors, and I, talk to anybody, watch the videos. The best are people at, I think it's Target. Is it Target? Target's pretty good. Walmart, maybe. Not Costco, because Costco, you cannot get out of Costco. Anybody raise your hand? Ready for this? Costco. Anybody go to Costco? I love Costco. I love Costco. I love Costco. What do you do when you walk out of Costco? What do you do? What do you have to do when you get out of Costco? Tell me. Anybody? What's the thing that's different about Costco than virtually any other place? What do you do when you leave Costco? What do you think? Thank you so much. Mr. Fanculo says they check your receipts on the way out. They got this person there again, there, and they go like this. And if you have them hand them a bag and there's something, you go, wait a minute, your receipt says $3. You can't leave. They have these people who they will swipe the little stuff and they'll put the expensive thing here. They know every trick in the world. They're just watching each. And by the way, they also get people who work there every now and then. And you can't get out. You got one little door, one door. You walk in, you got to have your thing to get in. You got to have a membership card, which is a little different. But to leave, sorry. You want to go to CVS, you want to go to Sephora, you want to go to Ultra, you want to go to whatever, you want to go to any of these people. If you leave, there's this one door, and there's a guy standing there like this. And you have to bring your bag over. Now, of course, you might have stuff stuck in you and that kind of thing. Maybe. But they should also have to. So this is ridiculous. And a lot of these folks, believe it or not, this is the most important. You have to be able to recognize the fact that theft knows certain people. There are certain demographics. If you see an 80-year-old man coming in with white hair and a hat that says veteran, he's not going to be a thief. He's not going to be a thief. Do you hear what I'm saying? I know you hear what I'm saying. I know you hear what I'm saying. All right, my friend, I want you to do me a big, big favor now and listen to me and listen really good. I want to talk to you about something which is important. Did you hear about American Airlines? What about American Airlines? What did that happen? Do you see what's happening right now? Remember I told you this? I said, remember I told you this? Watch it. Watch what happens. Things just start shutting down. Remember this? American Airlines. All of a sudden, they just shut things down. What happened? I don't know. What do you don't know? I don't know. Well, this is Christmas. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Now, I don't know how to tell you this. No food, no help, no second chance. Sooner than you think. It could be every man for himself. Okay? You want to laugh? You want it? Maybe you do. Maybe think, that's extreme. That's kind of extreme. Okay. Famous last words. That's extreme. Now, I don't know how to tell you this, and I don't know how to put this into words, but right now there is something going on that we just got through the drone thing, which was the biggest waste of time there is. I don't even know what the hell that was, but we just forgot about it. But people went berserk. They went berserk. Look at this. This is the most important. American Airlines lifted a nationwide ground stop on Tuesday after reporting earlier a widespread technical issue affecting all flights as many Americans began traveling for the holidays. A vendor technology issue briefly affected. So anyway, you know what they want to do? Give us a flight. Check them out. How do they react? What do they do? Remember that one weekend? Remember that one a while back? When all of a sudden there were gas stations all over the country because of ransomware. I'm not going to tell you anymore. You better go to preparewithlionel.com because when there's no food and everything closes and there's havoc, they are setting you up. They're getting more and more and more and more and more. And we're like this. Oh, okay. What were the drones about? I don't know what the drones about. Anybody find out? No, not really. Hey, Jim Jordan, you know anything? No, I don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. That's where we are, my friends. And I'm also going to tell you this much about mypillow.com. I'm going to say this as long as I have breath in my lungs. God bless Mike Lindell. Merry Christmas to Mike Lindell and the great folks, the great people, the great Americans at mypillow.com. Promo code Lionel, who have just weathered the storm because they had the unmitigated audacity to speak the truth. Now, let's also talk about something. In New York City, and elsewhere. We had a woman who was set afire, torched, burned. How you like that? By the way, the new mug available. Look at that. Far, far more attractive. Look at people. It tells you the whole story. You can say, what is that? Who is it? Who is that? That's Uncle Lenny. That's the voice of truth. It's a very acquired taste. You probably don't want to listen to him. What do you mean? No. I got to listen to him. No. He can get a little feisty, especially when people don't listen. So, anyway, preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com, preparewithlionel.com. It's that simple, my friends. Preparewithlionel.com. That's it. Preparewithlionel.com and mypillow.com, promo code Lionel. That's it. Now let's talk about this feller. See if you recognize him. Remember this guy?
Increase the penalties. Increase them.
I would put the son of a gun in jail.
Put them to death. Biden has made it a death penalty offense for everything but jaywalking. 60 new death penalties, brand new, 60. There are 70 additional enhancements.
A Democratic president wants to build 125,000 new prison cells.
That's the secret.
You see this? He was doing the whispering thing then, too. Now, I can't show you the woman. I can't show you the woman who was burned. It's horrible. Have you ever seen that before? You ever seen that before? You can see it. It's not what you think. You know, on TV, it's like, ah. You ever see that? It's this weird thing, ah. Doesn't work like that. It just doesn't. Real life is not like that. We've seen the Vietnamese monk. Remember the self-immolation of the monk? No, it didn't do that. Nope, didn't do that. There's there was this fellow who was, I think it was with the Air Force. He was protesting Israel or Palestine in Washington. Set himself aflame. He just sat there. It's not like, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. Yes, Snarf, he was a monk, the famous monk, and we know his name in 60, whatever. That was one of the moments that changed everything. That and the summary execution and the girl running down the street in the flood. Okay? It's not what you think. When people are shot, you can see this. You can see this online. A lot of times, people are shot, and they just fall over, or they're shot like a million times, and they keep going because it doesn't hit the blood is still pumping, or there's cortisol or adrenaline or whatever it is. It's not what you think. It's not. It's one of the things which is the most interesting. It's one of those things. It's not what you think. It's not. And it's, so anyway, there's this woman. And for some reason, as she is on fire, and she is, it looks like Burning Man. No terrible pun intended, but she was a burning woman. Her skin was liquefying. It's like rendering, dripping. It drips. It's fat. Take chicken, put it over a flame. Look what happens. And this cop walks by, kind of a fat cop. He's kind of lumbers by. He doesn't take off his jacket and put it over. One guy, and I don't know and I know people laugh at this because, of course, there's a lot of gallows humor in the live chat, and that's the way it goes, and I understand that. Because remember, individual people, I've learned this, are very, very sentient, sad, wonderful people. Put them in a live chat, and they turn into like children. They laugh at stuff that's really not funny. But anyway, anywho, this one guy is like waving. He takes it. It's like, bruh, you know the expression fanning the flames? I'm sure the guy just didn't know what to do because it's so shocking. Now, what do you think? What do you think we need to do to react to this? What do you do? What do you do? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I love this one. Both of the coastal, mostly liberal cities are beyond parody. They're pathetic jokes. Please social distance further away from me. Pathetic jokes. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Do you think this is a coastal city problem? This is where it gets great. This is when people who have no idea what they're talking about say this. What do you think about this? Why do you think so? What do you think of this? Who is this lady? It's already there. Who is this lady? Why haven't they disclosed her name? They have disclosed her name. You haven't researched it. You haven't researched it. You're not reading it. I'm not reading USA Today or something. If you go to X, it's there with everything about her. I love this. So here is the best. This is the best part. What do you think? So what do you think? You think it's like, oh, it's that coastal. Some people have this refrain. Oh, that's that New York for you. Here's what people don't understand. When you take the number of people, 8 million, 5 boroughs, 8 million. And you divide it up in the amount of crimes, it's nothing. Crime's nothing. Did you hear this one? I'll tell you one. Let me tell you this story. Did you hear the story of this one couple that happened to adopt children and do terrible, awful, just incredibly sickening things to these children they adopted? What do you want to do with it? What do you gay adoption? You want to extrapolate that? You want to stop that? See, people love to respond, but before you respond, you have to be able to say, "Well, there we go again." You got to be careful. Like we saw those 3 black teenagers who represent a lot of black teenagers, but not exclusively black, but a lot. What do you say about them? But you can talk about them coastal. You got to get rid of them coastal. I'm tired of them coastal liberals. That's what it is. It's a guy sitting in the chair screaming. What do you think this is? What do you think this is? And what happens is people, I promise you, in 5 minutes, less than that, I will tell you her name, where she's from. I'll tell you about the suspect, where he's from, how many times he's been in here, released, where he went last, the policy, what happens to him next, what charges are we looking at. I can find it out immediately. Immediately. It's the easiest thing in the world. I swear to God, it's easy. But there are other people, and maybe you can help me with this. I don't know what it is. They don't seem to do anything that makes them say, I've got to get to this. Or we want to point to a reason. The majority of the people who have come, the vast majority of people who have entered the United States illegally have not committed any crime other than entering the United States illegally. So go ahead. What are you going to say? What do you think? Use a lighter. They found some bottles around. We don't know. There had to be, this is an accelerant that was there. This is not something normal. Normal, non-coated clothing doesn't do this. Pilgrim says, Merry Christmas, Lionel. All the best, sir. Thank you. What do you do with this? Now, I'm dead serious about this. I want you to think about this. What do you think so? What do you think? Well, you're going to get him. We're going to find nothing about her. We're going to know all about Luigi. Luigi Deixa de Gato, we're going to find about him. We're going to find out about where he's from, his manifesto, his back. He couldn't have sex. Was he gay? I don't know. Does it matter? Boy, he's so hard. He got pictures. This woman, know something about me. I don't know. There's no interest in this. None. Nobody will do any. Nobody from the New York Post will say, who was she? Let's do a GoFundMe for her, and let's put flowers at this. Nothing. The victim means absolutely nothing. This fellow Thompson, the CEO, forget him. Now, what do you do? What do you do to somebody? First of all, to deter the next person, we don't know when this has ever happened. Maybe you don't know this, but let me see if I can say this. And this may get you, Mr. Pilgrim. Do you remember the man who was a black man who was set on fire in Tampa? Do you remember this? They charged these two laborers with trying to set a man on fire. And if I recall correctly, our dear friend, Christopher Wilson, I believe. Yeah, Christopher Wilson was his name. And our dear friend, Harry Coe, remember this? Harry Coe was doing the prosecution of this. And it was something. And they talked about 1986. It was a beating of Dwight Gooden. Then there was... it was anyway. There's all these things that went on in Tampa. Anyway, make a long story short, they set this black guy on fire in Tampa in '93. It never happened. So what are you gonna do? Yep. Pilgrim said, I remember Harry Coe did it, and then I think Paul Johnson, our friend, was prosecutor. Len Register might have been. In any event. It was all over the country. It never happened. Before that, speaking of it, I forget what it was. Billy Ferry, same Hillsborough County, did the same thing through some type of an accelerant at the Winn-Dixie, set them on fire. So it never happens. I mean, when I say it never happens, it's very rare. What are you going to do about it? Is it because of liberal cities? Even the people at Rikers, they found this disgusting. So do not try to find any kind of an extrapolated version of it, because it doesn't exist. It simply does not exist. There is no extrapolated version of this. There is no means of, trying to take this and, but we're going to have to really do something, I think, especially in view of what Biden is doing, and have to very seriously reconsider any objection to the death penalty. I've come to that conclusion because we may have a new level of animal that only responds to that. I know it sounds crazy. And I know that I'm saying this reluctantly, because that's going to mean more false convictions, which we already have right now. Because that same lawfare dynamic that allowed them to go after President Trump will allow them to go after innocent people as well. This is very, very serious stuff. Very, very serious. I want you to stop for a moment right now. All those people at the airport, they're all sitting there waiting. Ever gone to an airport? Of course you have. You know what that is? That is a data sweep sucking like you cannot believe. Forget Starbucks. Oh. And airport, just turn on your devices. You've seen that fellow on Sean Ryan and others. He just sucks data out of everything owns stuff. Owns it. So what do you do? How do you fix that? I have an idea. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you checked your devices for malware? Malware attacks have increased 643% since 2020, with approximately 10 million personal and corporate devices compromised with data stealing malware in just the last year alone. Additionally, 19.8% of computers face at least one malware attack annually. This emphasizes the critical need for individual users to protect themselves, their devices, and their data. This is why I use today's sponsor, Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro, and I love the peace of mind it gives me. Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro is an award-winning antivirus with real-time protection, malware removal, ad blocking, scheduled scans, multi-device protection, and more that stops malicious downloads in their tracks. Without Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro, I would risk my finances, banking details, personal data, and more getting into the hands of cyber criminals. Thanks again to Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro for sponsoring today's extravaganza. And do yourself a favor and sign up for a free 7-day free trial, of Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro during their early Black Friday sale happening now, and get up to 75% off. Yes, you heard that. Up to 75% off. Only at virtualshield.com/Lionel. Once again, that's virtualshield.com/Lionel. My friends, remember, on the 22nd of February, I mean to tell you, and I mean this sincerely, I mean to tell you repeatedly, yes. I'll be back at the cutting room in New York City, and I want to see you. That's right, the New York City, the coastal, what do you call that? The coastal hellhole, or whatever the hell you want to call it, whatever the thing is. So it's going to be there. So this is also the chance. You should see in New York right now. I mean, it is snowing like a mud. This is a chance for us to be so thankful, dear friends, so monumentally, incredibly, critically thankful for everything that we went through, everything that we went through, everything that we endured, everything that we did. You know, I just saw something right now, and I think this is so interesting. There's a guy named, have you seen him? Patrick Ben David. Have you seen him? Patrick Bet David. And I know he's very, very, very popular. And he comes across as a very smart guy, right? You got this? And I like this one. Except he shows pictures of his family. And it is the dumbest thing I have ever seen in my life. He's got pictures of his son, his family, and what they look like. This guy who comes across as so smart, right? So smart. He's so smart. It's Patrick Ben David. Pictures of your kids today? This is what they look like? Are you out of your mind? Are you crazy? And when I see people do this on TV, you have no idea. Or on Facebook or whatever it is. You're going to love this. There was a woman I know. She went on a cruise. And she said, here's our room. Here's our pillows. Look, we got the extra stitching. Here's the bathroom. Aren't we cool? Ooh. And I realized you are such a schmuck. You are so gone. But, aside from that, this is wonderful. This is great. Okay. All right. You want to do that? That's fine. The day you see me do that, I love putting up the picture. It lets you see. Look at this picture. I want to show a picture of Mrs. L and I with the Santa Claus at Trump. Say, hey, look, it's kind of like saying, look, this is Trump. That's it. It's like, yeah, here we are. A little branding, but that's it. Not, oh, look at us having lunch, and here's our lunch, and oh, they call it tiramisu. It means lift me up, and it's a time. You want to do that? That's fine. But pictures of your kids, don't put pictures of your kids. I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to laugh. I'm going to tell you something. There are people, and we know it to be true, who will sit through Facebook and say, you know what? I live in this area, and I like that little girl right there. Her name is Mindy. And Mindy, those are her parents. And I figure Mindy goes to this school. Mindy's in the 4th grade. And she got, this is her picture. Bring me Mindy. And some guy out there will be looking for Mindy and bring her. Because people will fixate and they will attach and they will focus and they will perseverate. You think I'm kidding? Come on. You know how many times that's happened? More than you could ever imagine. Don't put pictures of your kids on Facebook, on anything. If they want to do it, they shouldn't. Do not do it. How can somebody do? Why? Oh, I'm Patrick David. I've got how do I say this? I've got bodyguards. Well, okay. And I'm not going to get into, I don't find any. Again, I'm the worst audience there is. I'm not talking anything about the quality of the show. Interviewing is lame, but that's another story. That doesn't matter. If he's popular, God bless him. When he's popular, we're all popular. But leave your kids out. There is no excuse for that. None. Why people do it, I will never know. It's like they don't understand this. They just don't get it. They think it's a joke. They think, well, they talk a good game about stuff, but they don't. They don't really think it. It's just incredible. It's just the most incredible thing in the world. So, Adam PDB is super rich. That's great. Makes him even more of a target. That's good too. And people who go out of their way to say, look how rich I am. Who else does that? Let me ask you something. Who does that? Does Joe Rogan do that? No. There's a lot of people who make a lot of money. Does Elon do that? No. I don't even think Elon owns a house. Elon loves the show. Look at me. Not Patrick Ben-David. No. Here's me and my jet. Here's me and my, oh no. There is something that is basically wrong with people who want to explain to you, this is what how do I say this? This is how much I make. This is where I live. These are my riches. This is what I've done. This is what... You ever see Joe Rogan do that? Really? I mean, you kind of know what he does. Do you ever do that? Does Dana White ever do that? No. This guy does. And there's something you got to understand too. Remember something. I'm leaving it at that. I know, because people are having a hard time. I like Patrick Ben-David. I like him. Okay. I like that case. All right. I'm not saying you know. Imagine any discussion. I think Lara Trump. I like Lara Trump. Okay, thank you very much. So that's where it is. So forget what people have done. You got to find somebody that nobody likes. You can't say anything because people say I like him, and people have the most simplistic way of. See, one of the things about him, which is interesting, his language. He doesn't sometimes. There's a little bit. It's like a little bit of a. I don't know what it is. Like the John Gotti Jr. interview. Did you see this? John Gotti Jr. Fascinating. You know why? John Gotti Jr. John Gotti Jr. is smart. He is so smart. In the genre, I love this, of the mafia world, two people, the smartest of them all, is Mikey Scars, DeLeonardo. Absolutely gets it. That's number one. Number two is Gotti. And the one who is the most overdone is this Michael Franzese. Absolutely, he says nothing. Says nothing, but he's very, because now the other Mama Luke's just like, what are you talking about here? What is this? What is this? It's a fascinating move But the thing that was interesting about John Gotti Jr. was he realized John Gotti Jr. put himself over. And Patrick Bet-David didn't get that. The genius didn't get it, which is okay. Maybe he figures, I don't want to do it. How about those new baby, new girl, on the Peeps lawns? Absolutely one of the most important things ever. Karen says, he's a salesman. It spills over the show. It's a good show. I've not watched it. I watched, if I can maybe, I think it was the first time Sammy Gravano ever came up. Remember little Nicky Scarfo? You mean Nicodemo, little Nicky Scarfo? Is that what you're talking about? You got Greg Scarfa, you got Nicky Scarfo, then you got Phil Leonetti and that whole thing, which is a whole group of people. Listen, I'm not here to how do I say this? I find there is no good interviewers because they're not, how do I say this? If this is the person is the person interesting that you're interviewing him? Yes. Then don't ask him any questions. Lull them into complacency. When he, like for example, have you ever heard anybody ever interview Frankie, Sammy the Bull? When Sammy the Bull first started, you realize this guy's not the smartest guy, and he's a bit of a psychopath, and he's a thug, and he's a liar, and he's a crook, he's a killer. And so I don't know what you're doing. So you get this stuff where you say, things like Patrick. I think it was the first time I couldn't believe there was doing. He says, so when you were a young boy and you were a young man, could you and this is where Patrick is saying, I want to show you the depth of my interviewing. So he gets into this really deep, it's a question nobody really gives a shit about. Anyway, and it stops whatever the flow was. Could you tell us your mom and your pop when you were growing up in, and I can't do his accent, but you know he has an accent. You were growing up in is it the Bronx? Oh, Brooklyn. Was it Brooklyn? Could you tell me? Did you have indoor heat, or was it a furnace? Was it a furnace? Was it a walk-up? Did you live in a walk-up? And could you tell us at the time? Did you have nicknames for your pets? I mean, I don't know why. Fine, great. There's a guy, if you ever want to see somebody interesting, of a lovable psychopath, Michael Dowd, the 7'5", you ever seen him? He's the dirty cop, absolutely, positively. And he's trying to land his way. He is one of, if ever there is somebody who is a psychopath, I mean, not a psychopath, but a criminal, but lovable, funny, tells a story about corruption, how they were going to kidnap and kill a woman. Listen to that one. You know who does great, the best interviews? Remember who the best ever was Larry King, because Larry King didn't ask any questions. Is Vlad the Impaler, or Vlad whatever? And also, have you ever seen White Underbelly? Phenomenal. Oh my God. It's about the star. He's not even on the screen. I love people who say, I don't. Vlad and the dude, the feller from White Underbelly, whatever, they're not even in the screen. Not Pat Ben-David. Do you, Sammy the Bull, can I ask you? It's like almost like Seb Gorka. Did you, when you use the name, the nickname Bull, was it because of the size of the balls? Because I remember I hear sometimes there's an expression that we have where the balls of the bull are The balls are, do you like my suit? Yes, I'm very rich. Sammy, you're talking to a killer who's not really a killer, who's a con man. And you're talking about, I don't know what he's talking about. Vlad, not even on the screen. He's talked to people like, we're talking to Sidewalk, Highway Ricky, that motherfucking thing was the rape of the crazy man. The code that they do, say that motherfucker they going inside the rape. Vlad says, nothing. Let him keep talking. You'll figure it out eventually. Every time you ask a question, you're interrupting the flow. He wants to tell you something. He wants to go someplace. What are you asking him questions for? What are you adding to this that I don't understand? People do it just to hear themselves talk. Do you remember the Bruce Kimball file VH? I'm not offhand. I don't know what that means. I'm not sure, but that's interesting. Bruce Kimball. No, I don't. I could stop and go research this, but I want to keep it up. But thank you. No, I don't. I'm not sure offhand. There is a woman. I love this underbelly. Fentanyl addicts, dominatrices. It's fascinating. What do? They're not on the screen. They're not on screen. It's the most fascinating thing in the world. That's all. It's just a thought. As opposed to what Joe Rogan does is Joe Rogan makes you, he never gets in the way of the interview. Joe Rogan seriously, like occasionally, like with Candace Owens. You got to understand one thing about Candace Owens. She's very good, but she's full of shit. I mean, you do know that, right? She's still trying to land on the flower. She is setting herself. They're going to crush her. She has such a hard on for Israel. And they're going to make an example of her. That's okay. Wasn't Bruce Kimball the one-armed man? I believe that could very well be. I think David Jansen would have known this. But anyway, like a couple of times Joe Rogan is, but what Joe Rogan does is he loves the guest. And he laughs and he makes the guest just be the guest. It's wonderful. Let me give you an example. If you're ever talking to somebody and you're ever on a date and you're trying to pick up somebody, get a job, interest somebody, one of the easiest things in the world is pretend you care, number one, and always ask a kind of a question about the last question, implying that you're interested in it. You might not be, but in essence, not interrupting it. For example, that's fascinating. Why is that? Interesting. How did you feel? What did you feel? What did you do? And you're still talking about the thing. You're not saying, could I ask you a question? The name Sammy, your name is Salvatore. Is that right? It's Salvatore. Salvatore, is that right? You know, I think Salvatore, there is a nickname in the Italian for Toto. Like Toto Riina was Salvatore. Toto is also the band with Steve Lukather and the Porcaro brothers. Toto, Africa. Remember that song, Africa? Do you feel there's a connection between your role as a gangster, Sammy the Bull, El Toro, and the group Toto and Steve Lukather, who played the lead on Michael Jackson's Thriller? And you want to say, what the fuck are you talking about? I just want to hear myself speak because I think I'm genius. Oh, David Jansen, you've touched a Swiss conspiracy. Indeed, one of the best ever. This is one of these ones. Remember, 99% of all interviews are boring. Boring. Because the person goes and you want them to say, what is it that they're there for? What do we say? What if it, I mean, why is this person here? You don't want to hear me. You don't want to hear me speak. You don't want to hear my questions. You don't want to hear me to think that, to speak in a way. Let me talk to you about Donald Trump and why the MAGA is so a wonderful thing. You see, the MAGA was from a basis analysis, what we call in the business a lost leader. Shut up. I'm telling you. Remember, when you say this, the first thing people say is, I like Ben David. I didn't say you don't like him. He's wonderful. But remember, people don't have any training in this. They just come from the world or whatever, and their numbers do great, or they get a bunch of people in the room. He had some guy with him one time who was kind of like an asshole. I don't know who this guy was. I don't know. Anyway. Beastie Blast says festive hugs and holiday joy to both of you. May I tell you who my new favorite I am addicted to? Have you seen Angela Collier? Do you know who Angela Collier is? Angela Collier is a young lady, a physicist. She does a 2-hour. I love her style. I love she talks about sexual harassment in the world of physics, and it's worth watching every second. I'm addicted. It's almost ASMR, but not boring, but I listen to her. Like at night when I'm listening to her, she's just fantastic. There are people I just get into, and I find them so interesting. There was a story. Have you ever found out, this is what it is. Have you ever found recently a subject matter that you never thought anything about? And it involves by the way, look at anybody who looks at my list, you'll see, for example, entitled Karen gets arrested inside the courtroom. When psycho Karen gets tased while fighting police cops. And then, of course, Andrew Jackson, J. Edgar Hoover. But here's the one, Jack Parsons. I was so de minimis when it comes to Jack Parsons and his history, and fascinating. I love when you find out just a group, just somebody who came along who, did you see here Red Foley? Red Foley's the most fantastic. It's incredible. Here's something for you. A drummer says something. I agree with this. Piers Morgan has all the nutcases on his show. Have all the nutcases on his shout up show. Absolute dribble. 100%. 100%. It's ridiculous. And you know who's the worst? Who was just running out of steam is that junk yogurt. Turned into a joke. I mean, it was kind of a joke, and this emphysema lady who works with her, whatever they're, Anna Magnani or whatever, with a tumor in her head. Oh, she's left. They don't know what to do. They're just flailing, hoping something sticks. Therese says, I want to hear the guest view, not the interviewer. Yeah, I want to find out what somebody's there, what somebody is. You know what's interesting also? I have it's really hard when you're dealing with people sometimes who are involved in war, and they're brought before you because they were warriors, and they say, yeah, well, we shot that guy, was got him with a map war, yeah, and you're And who was it? Sean Ryan just loves these guys come in with a war stories bore me to no end. Bore me. You know what fascinates me? PTSD. PTSD is the thing. It's a normal reaction to a. It's a normal reaction to an abnormal thing. That's what fascinates me. It really is. You know what question what I think is the most interesting about Candace Owens? One thing only. How does she, if I said, let me ask you something. Are you black or white? And when I say that, it's not meant what you think. Everybody has a frame of reference. And there are people who say, well, no, I mean, I'm black, but I'm the conservative black. And pretty soon I'm a conservative black who has not a hint of a black accent, patois. You take a lot of care in that. Have you noticed that? Some people take one of the things which is very interesting, there are some people who have voices where if you listen to them, literally, you cannot hear, and I know you're not supposed to say this. I know you're supposed to say, oh, you can't tell people's race by their voice. Remember that during the O.J. Simpson? But if you closed your eyes and heard Condoleezza Rice, Candace Owens, Harris Faulkner, you would not, you would say, I probably go with that's an American white woman. Or non-black. This is what you've heard. You also get thrown up a lot of times in Britain, or UK, because there's no such thing as, how do I say this? You don't have somebody who's from Washington Heights or East New York in Newcastle. It doesn't work that way. These are people of African, they're European, and you can hear. But other times you can say, oh, yeah, because the voice is very, very important. You see, one of the things that people forget is that we have in this country, especially when it comes to music, a thing called a black voice. And I treasure it. I love it. James Brown can only be sung by a black man. There's no way. Michael Bolton would try. Other people came very, very good. David Clayton Thomas from, we had to do a whole show on this. David Clayton Thomas from Blood, Sweat, and Tears is one of the best. Bill Champlin. Bill Champlin from Chicago, well, actually, Sons of Champlin, is on an album by Lee Ritenour called Captain Fingers. And he sings Isn't She Lovely? It's one of the best guitar solos you'll ever hear in your life. It's one of my favorite songs. This song is just perfect from top to end, top to bottom. And Bill Champlin, I swear to God, that was a black guy. Bobby Caldwell, What You Won't Do for Love. I interviewed him. He's from Jersey. He's not even from New York, but I've interviewed him. They had no idea who he was. Sometimes it works in reverse. Charlie Pride, they didn't know he was black. Some people could do it. He has his own. He never pretends. Bill Medley from the Righteous Brothers, phenomenal. Joe Cocker, could be, yeah. Joe Cocker certainly was there, but there were some others. I was listening to a very interesting voice, and it's his own, who's much better than you think, is John Mayer. John Mayer's the guitar playing. He's so off the charts. But there are people who, and we should do a whole list, because there are some who sound like, I had a list I was compiling. Like David Clayton Thomas, for example, from Blood, Sweat, and Tears. He's Canadian. He's phenomenal. But he sounds black, but his own version. He's not pushing it. Oh, Terry Kath. Well, Terry Kath from Chicago, the guitar player, had a voice that was absolutely. But maybe, yeah. And I think this, Now, Bill Withers ain't no sunshine. Now, listen to this. Now, listen to Matt obviously has not understood what we're talking about. Bill Withers ain't no sunshine. We're talking about white people who sound like they're black, or white people who have a version of a black singing style that may not be perfectly black, but it's good. Bill Withers is a black man. Johnny Mathis is a black man. J.J. Cale, again, did you ever think J.J. Cale was black? I think Michael McDonald, absolutely. Now, thank you, drummer. Thank you for understanding what this is. Thank you. Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac, yeah, maybe. John Fogerty. Did you ever think John Fogerty? Did you ever think he was black? I thought he might be Louisiana. Tony Joe White. Tony Joe White. Polk salad Annie, but I never thought it was black. It's one of those ones where you just this is it. Oh, look at this. Speechless about what? PBD built a media empire. Lionel, why you mad? See, this is why you can't do this. Because you can't talk about this, and this is it. This is, I'm a fan. I'm talking about an interview style and a style. If I don't think Elon Musk necessarily is going to be a great talk show host or what, because he's the richest man in the world. See, this goes to show you, again, somebody who just misses the point completely. That's all right. I'm used to it. Pilgrim says, is Steve Barn considered a master banjo player? Not in the least. Not even remotely. He's good to a point. And you can say, okay, I got it. Certain things are harder. He's no Lester Flatt. I mean, no Earl Scruggs, rather, excuse me. No way. No way. And there are others who are absolutely better. Phoebe Snow. It was just interesting. People thought she was African American until you saw her picture. You know, it's funny you say that. Some people thought she was black because of her picture. We knew her very well, by the way. Very, very, very well. And that was interesting how people thought. Etta James was also a kind of, it was interesting when you see biracial, interracial. This is just the most important thing. That's all. Elon Musk has brilliant people working for him. Yeah. But just because he's the richest man in the world doesn't mean he's a great talk show host. Absolutely not. There were some people who were just very good at it. And Patrick Ben-David wants to hear himself speak. It's the Patrick Bet-David show. It's about him. It's not the guest. It's him. It's not the guest. The guest is like, yeah, it's like, I've got the guest on my show. And you can hear from this, it's kind of like an over-the-top, I don't want to say pompous, but it's just about, but that's the style. If you like it, that's great. But you're not going to find out anything from him at all. Whenever you want to interview somebody, you've got somebody in your table, and he's a suspect. And this is your one time to talk to him. How do you talk to him then? What is your goal? This is what Joe Rogan is so good. Joe Rogan, you'll learn something about him. Joe Rogan is fantastic. Vlad, fantastic. I think that Underbelly, absolutely incredible, very good. I'll really learn something from this. Now you might say to yourself, I don't really want to learn anything. I just want to, like Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan, you're not going to learn anything. Yet, I will say this about Piers Morgan. This is the most important thing in the world. The greatest interview I've ever heard, or put it this way, the greatest answer I've ever heard by anybody is this guy, Bernard Giles, who answered my question that I've been looking for years. What does a serial killer think when he kills? What does he think? What goes through his head? And he said, Mr. Morgan, do you enjoy doing something? I mean, do you really enjoy doing something? Do you really enjoy it? He said, because Bernard Giles killed like 7 people like in 4 months or something. I mean, he broke every rule. He started late. There was no cooling off. And he said, he's the most understated person. And he said, basically, when he was describing the kill, he said, I saw the atoms vibrate. And I said, I got it. I understand it. Now, Piers Morgan, I think, was lucky with it. He just kind of backed off. He was very good. He let the person talk. One guy just wrapped himself, and other people. And by the way, Piers Morgan never was like, you killed these people. The killers know you know that. He was very good. Absolutely. Those serial killer interviews are some of the best. Now, if Patrick Bet David talked to him, they wouldn't get a word in. You know about Patrick. You would know. You say that you are a serial killer. And many people think this is like the life cereal, like the cornflakes. But it's SERI. Does that ever bother you? Okay. Now, I know he's a great media person. Fantastic. Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history. Don't want him on TV. Don't want him on Al Michaels, great announcer. You don't want him as backup. We always got to confuse. We don't want to confuse. You may be very good at this. You may not be. You may. And remember, when you talk to somebody and you throw them off, you can sit back and you can say, well, it was good. I had on Sammy the Bull. He talked for us. Like, no, he talked, but he didn't get what you wanted. You let him talk, but you ask him, you never thought about what this was. What did you want from this? Well, I had on Sammy the Bull. I said, well, you might have had on Sammy the Bull, but we don't really, he's been saying this. Do you know what he said? I don't know what do we really know? It's about him, and he's promoting his own thing. It's like, well, what is it? Because the whole story about Sammy the Bull is Sammy the Bull full of shit? That's the underlying story. And aside from being a rat, the whole thing, it's a rat. You were a rat and that kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, we've all been through that a million times. Yeah, but you swore omerta. Yeah, I know. There was another fellow, by the way, who is terrific. And I don't know why he doesn't do enough of this. His name is Hootie. I think it's Anthony Russo or something. His name is Hootie, like Hootie and the Blowfish, but he's an ex-mobster. I don't think he was made or straightened out. He is incredible. Throws facts out I've never heard before. Then there are others who were not as good. He's one who's terrific. And what I would tell Patrick or whoever's doing it, it's like, remember, watch him. Look what he's going to do. He's going to say some stuff. And he loves to tell you the inside. And the first question should be with him. Tell me something we don't know. Tell me something nobody's ever said. Something you want to say that nobody's ever asked you, but it's one of the most important facts as to what's going on. Oh. And the best is when two mobsters are trying to talk and they're both trying to whatever. So anyway, that's all. Remember something. I said before, we don't live in a world of, this is not a meritocracy. We live in a world of a fan club. Whether it's Patrick Bet David, whether it's Joe Rogan, whether it's Candace Owens, there are friends. I'm a fan of his. Okay. In the world of sports, you're not a fan of somebody unless they produce. LeBron James is only LeBron James because of his success, not because you like him. not because he's you like him. In our world, we have a lot of people here today who just have popular people. I like Candace. I like it. Okay, fine. I like Joe Rogan. Okay, great. That's not what we're talking about. It's like you're connected. I like the Beatles. I like Ringo. Okay, good. I remember, these people aren't, remember, recognize one thing too. When people don't understand the argument, just move on. They're not going to. This is a very, very, very simple thing. And let me also tell you something. Remember, as long as you get the numbers, people will watch you. That's all. Doesn't matter. You could be the worst. You could be this coffee mug, and as long as people are watching, that's it. So people aren't really, they're not scrupulous. There's so much information. There is so much. But check out this Angela Collier. Oh, fantastic. Absolutely. In any event, listen, thank you so much. Have a wonderful, 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 what is this? New Year? Not New Year's, Christmas Eve. Thank you all much, my friend. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All of you, dear, dear friends, you are just terrific. Thank you, Pilgrim and Therese and Beastie Blast, George Keene, PM Pilgrim Media, Spandex, ladies and gentlemen, and Marcus Ferguson going back, telling us jokes from the 60s, which I love that. This is a blessed day. Remember, enjoy today with your family and your friends. Think about the family members who are no longer with you. Think about, keep them in your heart. Think about something funny. Think about their smell. Think about their laugh. Think about something they like to eat. Think about a moment you had, one of the best moments you had with them. Think about Christmas with them in the past. They never die. They never die. They're here in your heart. I know it sounds really corny. It's true. It's absolutely true. Don't ever feel bad on holidays. They are in you. They're in your soul. They're in your mind, in your memory. They're in you. They are so intertwined in your DNA, your mental and spiritual DNA. You can't get rid of them. So enjoy that. All right? And never, ever, ever put pictures of your children on social media. Never, ever, ever. Even if you're a multi-million dollar genius advertising guy who's a genius, Patrick Bet David, a genius. Here's my mother. Here's my wife. Here are my sons. Here they are. This is what they look like. So if you ever see them out on the schmuck, what's the matter with you? This is a brutal world we live in. Sorry. It's the way it goes. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Don't forget, we'll see you tonight at 7. Also, follow Mrs. L at Lens Warriors. Have a beautiful day, my friends. We love you. We love you. We love you. Remember, MAGA, we won. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.